one-on-one interview show. And our first guest is a very, very busy man. Abdel Fattah Moussa is the Peace and Security Commissioner of ECOWAS. ECOWAS is the West African regional blocs, where no less than 4 countries have witnessed a coup in the past 3 years. The latest happened a little over a month ago in Niger, prompting ECOWAS to slap sanctions and even threaten a military intervention against the junta. Mr. Abdel Fattah Moussa joins us from Accra in Ghana. So let me ask you a very straightforward question. Nigeria's president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, has floated the idea of a 9-month transition in Niger. Niger's prime minister also told the media that there are discussions with ECOWAS to find such a reasonable transition. So are there hopes of reaching an agreement on such a transition?
Thank you, Mark, for having me. First, let me debunk the idea that President Ahmed Bola Tinubu has floated the idea of 9 months. The chair of the ECOWAS authority, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has not proposed any time frame for the transition. The position of ECOWAS remains the same. The release of President Mohamed Bazoum, from his hostage situation, and the immediate the restoration of constitutional order. That is the position of ECOWAS. The Prime Minister, Mohamed Zain, has also, indicated, his the willingness of the military regime in Niger to negotiate with, ECOWAS on a transition. The ball is very much in their court. We are just waiting. I think we have not moved from our position. That is the release of President Bazoum and the restoration of constitutional order without any further delay.
So what you're saying is that there can be no transition like we've seen in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea in Niger. You want the military to hand back power to Mohamed Bazoum. That's it.
Yes, we are not going to repeat the experiences of Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso, where ECOWAS found itself actually in a trade-off with the military regimes, haggling over the duration. And as we speak, some of them are still thinking of unilaterally even extending the transitions in their countries. The authority of heads of state of ECOWAS have decided that enough is enough. We are not going to use what happened in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso as a template for Niger. We are drawing the line in the sand, and we want the immediate restoration of constitutional order and the release of President Bazoum. Those are our position, so the modalities for the restoration of that constitutional order will form the content of any discussion with the authorities. But this is our position, and it is up to them to respond to it. So far, they have not responded, and the idea that they are going to sit there for the next 3 years is, to put it simply, is a provocation. We are not even we are not even contemplating discussing any 3-year transition, not even 9 months, not even 6 months. People have said Algeria has proposed 6 months. Well, Algeria is not an ECOWAS member state. Algeria did not consult ECOWAS before proposing a 6 months. That is entirely up to Algeria. Our position has been very clear right from the beginning. We want the immediate restoration of constitutional order in Niger, and to put an end, to this cancer of coup d'etats in the region. That is already drawing the country back.
You even went further. In August, after an ECOWAS meeting, you said that a date for a military intervention by ECOWAS countries had been set. Is this still the case, that the D-Day is decided, or is this merely bluff to put pressure on the junta in Niamey?
No. What I said, was that the chiefs of defense staff of ECOWAS have already set the D-Day for a possible intervention, military intervention in Mali. When I say D-Day, it doesn't mean today's date is what? 5th of September. I'm not saying 5th of September, 10th of September, or 15th of September. The D-Day is contingent upon certain factors, after which, counting the number of days, the military will intervene. This is all part of military planning. We have not put a calendar date on intervention. What ECOWAS has always said is that we are giving priority to mediation, and ECOWAS is engaged in mediation with them. We have put the priority on sanctions, which is another coercive measure, to force them, the regime actually, to come to the negotiating table for the restoration of constitutional order. We have not exhausted those options. So, when I tell you the D-Day, it means when the heads of state decide that it is useless continuing discussions, then the military can start thinking about the D-Day. As I speak with you, the military is still having their own, fine-tuning of their possible operations and other things, but it is on standby. We have said we are not going to invade Niger. We are not at war with Niger. We are going there. Our problem is with the CNSP, that is the military regime in the country, to remove them if they do not come forward to agree on the restoration of constitutional order that ECOWAS has demanded. We are not going to engage in endless haggling with them.
So how long? How long, Mr.
That is
Musa?
not going to happen. It depends very much upon them. If we decide that they are just wasting our time, then the heads of state will put a stop to it. We are not shutting the door. Our doors have always been open for negotiations with them, for the restoration of constitutional order, for the release of President Bazoum. It is they who are playing cat and mouse with ECOWAS. The last time our mediation team went there, led by former head of state, General Abdul Salami, they discussed during the day. The delegation retired into the hotel without knowing what the planning of the regime was, only to read, to see on the television screen, that General Chiani had come forward proposing a 3-year transition while our mediation team was in the country. We feel this is a provocation, and that if they continue with this unilateral action, then it means the patience of ECOWAS at some point is going to be exhausted. We are not going to sit down waiting for mediation, and we are not going to, wait there to see that, that they are still maneuvering to get around the sanctions that we have imposed upon them. We are not going to allow an endless wait, but I am not putting a date to it.
Right.
Okay, so there are many factors ECOWAS is considering.
Are you talking, as we speak, to Mr. Chiani, the head of the junta, or is the dialogue, the way you just described, essentially playing cat and mouse, or are they really talks ongoing as we speak?
There are back-channel consultations with them. As you are aware, there are a number of clerics, a group of clerics from northern Nigeria have been going to and fro into the country, speaking with them, and they have been giving their report to the chair of the ECOWAS authority in his capacity as also the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are not officially part of the ECOWAS negotiations, but we welcome any effort by any well-meaning people who can convince the military regime to see reason with ECOWAS and stop this contagion of coup d'etat by handing over, power immediately to the civilian, regime that we are talking about. The Prime Minister has engaged with ECOWAS. We've had correspondence from him complaining about the sanctions and urging us, to accompany the transition. But we are not accompanying any transition because we don't have any transition in place. How are we going to accompany it? And if he's referring to the 3-year transition, that is a non-starter.
Right.
And we have responded accordingly to the authorities that ECOWAS demands are on the table. If they are going to speak to them, we are ready to talk. But it is not they giving us their conditions for engaging with them.
The authorities in Mali and Burkina Faso said that if there is such an ECOWAS-led military intervention in Niger, they will consider it as a declaration of war against them. What is your response to them?
Well, my response to them is that what do they mean by a declaration of war against them? Is it that they are going to team up with the military regime in the country, in Niger, to try to oppose any eventual ECOWAS intervention? If that is their intention, I would rather advise them to pay greater attention to insecurity in their own country, particularly in Burkina Faso, where the territory of the country is rapidly getting out of the control of the state itself.
Abdel